There are tons of changes to playbooks in Madden 26, so in this video, I'm giving you guys my ranking for the top 5 offensive playbooks in Madden 26 that'll have you lighting up the scoreboard. So starting off at number 5, the Los Angeles Chargers playbook has some of the most unique plays and formations in the entire game. We're going to look at 3 different formations, but right here, we are starting off in the formation gun, Y-off, trips, close. This also has been known in the past as U-trips. It was also known as gun, Y-off, trips, pats. It used to be exclusive to the Patriots playbook, but now it is here in the Chargers playbook as well. And the play we're looking at here is the play tight end whip. Now, when people talk about tight end whip, they often talk about how great it is as a man beater because we have these 2 shallow posts and this tight end whip route. But I want to show you guys how this is also a great zone beater as well. And so if our opponent is here in cover 3, then what we can do with either shallow post is hit it over the deep middle because it's going to be able to get underneath the safety in the middle third. And so I'm going to go ahead and just streak our left side post. We don't want both our posts running into each other. But what we're going to see when we snap this ball is that because the shallow post runs way shallower than your standard post, he is going to be wide open over the middle for easy yards. And in that particular case, I don't even know where the middle third safety went. He didn't even acknowledge the existence of the post. He kind of wanted to go guard the streak. But you can see that this is just so shallow that this is a super easy completion over the middle. And what's happening here is this linebacker is being put in conflict because he has to choose between either guarding the tight end whip route or guarding the post. And so if he stays outside on the whip route, it's going to leave a ton of space over the middle for this shallow post. And this is going to work the exact same with our other shallow post as well. And so if we run the exact same cover 3 coverage, and this time it is our right side player, our right side receiver on a streak, and our left side shallow post coming over the middle, it's going to be the exact same thing. This post is going to get underneath that safety in the middle third with a pass lead down. That's an easy completion. You can't do that with standard posts. You can only do it with these special shallow posts that you can find on plays like this on the play tight end whip. Now, another super cool thing that you can do on this play is you can actually smart route and custom stem the tight end whip route. Now, it's going to be very situational when you would actually want to do this, but to custom stem, you'll just select your tight end from the hot routes menu. You'll hold down LB or L1. Then I'm going to click up 3 times on the D-pad. And you can see that now that tight end whip route runs super deep. And like I said, this is going to be very situational. It's not something you would do all the time. But if we put our defense once again in a cover 3, I'm going to spy out a D tackle because the practice mode pass rush is kind of ridiculous. There's really 2 windows where you could hit this throw. The first one is you could actually hit him as he cuts inside initially, like his inside cut on that whip route. And what you'll see right here, if we throw it on the inside cut, is it's actually almost functioning like a curl route. And in that case, we can take it all the way for a touchdown because the safety took a bad pursuit angle on us. But of course, you also have the late window where you could hit him after he breaks outside. And then it's basically just functioning like you've got a flood concept. You've got your low read on this drag. You've got the high read on the stemmed up zig route. And don't get me wrong, this does take a lot of time to develop, but I just wanted to show you guys that you have the option to do this because it's very rare that you have a tight end whip route, and it's even more rare that you can custom stem it. And so the play tight end whip automatically makes the formation gun, Y-off, trips, close super cool and super unique. Now, the second play I want to show you guys in the formation gun, Y-off, trips, close is this play Y option wheel. There are a few things I love about this play as well. First off, I love this running back wheel route. The initial stem of the wheel route is much flatter than a standard hot routed wheel route. And so as a result, you can just read your running back right away, and it kind of functions as a flat route. And so if your opponent isn't guarding him in the flat, you can steal some really easy yards on the outside. And because of how flat it is at the start, it's much easier to get outside and get to the edge against those defenders. Now, the other thing you can do with this wheel route is if you were to run something like a wheel route plus a flat route or a speed out on that solo receiver, then you also have a window to go ahead and hit a pass lead down and a possession catch to your running back to get some easy yards against zone coverage as well, because that flat route or speed out is going to pull any hard flats far outside toward the sidelines. Now, the super obvious and easy adjustment to make on this play is to take our tight end and put him on a corner route, maybe even stem him up by 1 click. And so now we have a super easy flood concept on this side. So once again, if your opponent is in something like a cover 3, then you can very easily flood that sideline. If they had stayed back, if they hadn't shaded down, you would take your flat route underneath. In this case, they shade it down. We take our corner route. Now, the other thing is you can also throw to our solo receiver on the shallow post once again. The only thing you'll need to do is you'll need a way to put the linebackers in conflict, just like we saw in the previous example in tight end whip. So if instead you did something like a tight end on an in route, and then in that case we'd maybe want to do like a curl flat concept on the right side, then once again right here, you're going to be able to have that window to hit your tight end on the post over the middle with a pass lead down. And once again, that safety's taking some bad pursuit angles, but it's resulting in touchdowns for us, and we'll happily take it. And so those are just two really cool plays in gun wild chips close that are especially great at attacking zone coverage. Now, the second formation I want to show you guys is gun tight offset tight end. And we always have to start with this formation by talking about 0-1 trap, because this is one of the best shotgun run plays in the entire game. If your blocks hold, you have a chance to take it all the way for a touchdown, and even if they don't hold that well, you can still easily get 5 or 6 yards of play most of the times that you run this. You can see right here just how awesome the blocking is. And I would say especially on 4 down lineman sets like nickel over, like we're going against right here, this is where you're going to see the best blocking, and we are just absolutely gashing the defense up the middle right here. Now, the second play I want to show you guys is PA seams, and this play is amazing against both cover 3 and cover 2. The only adjustments I like to make are to put my tight end on a streak and put my running back on a curl route. And so this is all about putting the linebacker in conflict once again, because that linebacker can't guard both the seam and the running back curl route. And so if he stays down on the running back curl route, you have easy yards up the seam and maybe even a touchdown. And so if it's not shaded down cover 3, then in that case, the linebacker's probably going to stay back and guard the tight end seam. But guess what? You have the running back on the curl route underneath, and that's an easy 10 yards right there. And it's not just cover 3 this is great against, because if it's cover 2, then we're going to have the exact same thing. We're going to have a linebacker put in conflict, and as a result, he is not going to be able to guard both. And so if it's shaded down cover 2, then what's going to happen is that the mid read is going to have to stay down the curl route, and now your tight end on the streak is wide open for the easy touchdown. And so I love the play PA seams for attacking cover 2 and cover 3. Now, the third play I want to show you guys is the play Y out. And to start off, we're actually going to back up 10 yards, because the first thing I want to show you is that we have a super easy cover 3 bomb in this play. And so if we put the defense in cover 3 right here, and I'm just going to spy out the D tackles because of the practice mode pass rush being ridiculous, the only adjustments you need to make are streak your tight end and then block your running back. And I think that in this particular alignment, that D end ends up like chipping the post, which doesn't really ever happen in game. So I'm just going to pinch the D line right here. But what you're going to see after we snap this ball is that the corner route on the left side pulls down the outside third, and you have a wide open touchdown to your outside receiver on that deep post. And so at this point, you're probably saying, yeah, you keep talking about cover 2, cover 3. What about man coverage? Well, it turns out this play is also excellent for beating man coverage as well. And so if I go ahead and put the defense in a cover 0 blitz, you can see that we have a very easy man beating setup as well. All we're going to do is we're going to block our running back, pick up that blitz, and we're going to put the tight end on a corner route. And now we have 4 potential man beaters on this play. And the reason I say potential man beaters is that nothing is ever 100%, but all 4 of these routes have the chance of beating man coverage. And the very first route I like to look at is the left side receiver on the drag. If we go ahead and snap this ball, you can see that he has a step on the defender, and with a pass lead outside, we are racking up a ton of yards after the catch. We can go ahead and run through some reps to the other routes as well. And I actually also really like throwing to the tight end on the corner route right here. Of course, we don't know if he's going to get separation. In that case, he got separation pretty late. Wasn't the most open throw, but of course, we were able to click on and still make a play. Of course, we have the shallow corner route on the left side. And I think in this particular case, Trent McDuffie plays some pretty tight man coverage. And so I'm not sure how well that corner route is getting separation. But of course, you can always throw it, click on, bring your receiver back to the ball, and make a play. And of course, if you have a good receiver on this deep post, then there's always the chance for that to go for a touchdown as well. I'm not sure if Ladd McConkey is the guy to do that, but we'll give him a chance. And he got a little bit of a step, and so we put it out in front of him, and it was overthrown by Justin Herbert. But as you saw, we would have had a touchdown if he had just made an accurate throw. And so if you want to beat man coverage, then Y out is also an excellent play, because with just 2 quick adjustments, you can pick up a man blitz, and you also have routes all over the field that have the potential of beating man coverage. And now the final formation I want to show you guys is going to be split T tight, and this is great for running the ball in short yardage situations. There are lots of different plays. We're not going to go over all of them, but there's a fullback dive. There are play action plays. This right here is halfback inside. And so when you hand the ball off, your running back will have some really nice momentum. You want to make sure you have a big guy right there. Don't put your Elias back there. Put a fullback. You can even put in a tight end if you really wanted to. But when you hand that ball off, he's going to have a lot of momentum. And you can just try and truck guys. You can dive for the first down, whatever you want to do. But split T tight is super unique, and it is exclusive to the Chargers playbook, as far as I know at least. If I'm wrong, correct me in the comments. But split T tight is just really nice to have for punching the ball. There's 1 or 2 yards that you need when you're on like a 3rd and short, a 4th and short, or down near the goal line. Now at number 4, the Atlanta Falcons playbook is perfect for players who want to have a deadly passing attack. We are going to look at 3 different formations here in the Falcons playbook, and to start off, we are looking at gun bunch. Gun bunch is one of the best formations in the game every single year, and the Falcons have a particularly good gun bunch, and that's partly because of this play right here, which is bench pivot. What makes bench pivot so great is that they have this really unique zig route from the middle bunch receiver. And so this route has an amazing chance of beating man coverage. We, of course, can do some really nice zone beating concepts with it as well. But if we go ahead and put the defense in a cover 1, we can go ahead and watch how this zig route runs. And right here, he completely cooked his man. I don't know where his man was going. You see that having the ability to beat man coverage like that is extremely valuable. Now, if we wanted to attack zone coverage with this play, it's just one adjustment. That's going to be to put our outside bunch receiver on a slot fade. And then if our opponent is in a shaded down cover 3 or something like that, we just have to read the high-low of the corner route and the zig. And so you can see right here, in this case, because it's shaded down, the corner route is wide open. That's just an easy flood concept on the far sideline. And of course, we have that backside dig as well. Any flood concept is always completed by a backside dig. That way, if the user goes and runs with the corner route, the backside dig is coming in and filling in the space vacated by the user, and you would throw to him for an easy completion over the middle. Now, the second play we're going to look at in gun bunch is going to be the play verticals. This is one of the best zone beating plays in the entire game, and it has been for years. And the only adjustment we're going to make is take our running back and put him on an in route. Now, the first read on this play is actually going to be the outside bunch receiver on the flat part of his wheel route, because if your opponent leaves that flat open, and sometimes people do because they're worried about all the other route combos in gun bunch, you can snap this ball and then just throw it to him on the outside and get an easy 6 or 7 yards. And that's going to force your opponent to put hard flats out there. Now, after that, you want to be looking at the tight end on the wheel route and the running back on the in route. Those are your next 2 reads. And depending on where those linebackers play, you see that in this case with the linebacker playing down on the in route, you have the easy completion to the tight end wheel route. This is a cover. That was a shaded down cover 3, by the way. And so if it's not a shaded down cover 3, then in this case, the running back is getting caught up on the line of scrimmage, but eventually he comes open late, and that's an easy completion over the middle. Now, the final read, of course, is going to be the crosser from our middle bunch receiver. Insanely good crosser. I mean, this crosser is probably one of the most thrown crossers in the entire game. And we'll try that again because the Falcons O-line is kind of playing like they play in real life, which is really bad. And so we'll go ahead and give them one more chance. Oh, and the Falcons O-line is still doing Falcons O-line things. That's even with a 3-man rush. All right, Falcons, we're going to try a 2-man rush. And so if they can't block this, then I think the answer is just never, ever use the Falcons online. Fortunately, they blocked that. And so with a pass lead down and outside, you can hit that crosser along the sidelines. That'll be open against cover 2, cover 3, cover 4. That's just such a deep crosser that as long as you have that streak out there to push back the deep blues, that crosser is getting open against any type of zone coverage. Now, the third play we're going to look at in gun bunch is the play Y curl. And these running back wheel routes that are super flat at the start, you guys know that I love these because you can just snap and throw these and get easy yards on the outside. And it's really tough for your opponent to guard. It's that you basically get the best of both worlds, of both a flat route and a wheel route. And so that's why I love any play that has these on the field. And the other main route I want to draw attention to is going to be the solo receiver on this seam streak. And so he kind of starts off like a slant, then he cuts up field. And this is a cover 3 destroyer. And so if we go ahead and snap this ball, you're going to see that he gets in such an amazing spot inside of the outside third defender. We just pass through that ball inside, and there's just nothing your opponent can do about that because that route just, it gets too far inside of the thirds to be able to make a play. Of course, all the other routes on the play can be usable as well. You can, of course, throw this drag route over the middle if you just want an easy check down. And then you have a nice spot route and a wheel route on the outside as well. And so Y curl is just one of those plays that's great every single year because you have these unique routes that provide you with unique spacing that you can't get on any other play. Now, the second formation I want to show you guys is gun tight Y off. And what makes gun tight Y off so unique is that you have these certain plays like motion slot choice right here, where your receiver starts off in the wrong side of the formation and he ends up motioning across and you're briefly in the correct alignment in the formation, and then you'll snap the ball and run your play. What makes this so unique is that you can actually hot route your player. And actually, to be clear, let's make sure everyone understands. This right here is the normal alignment for gun tight Y off. It's basically just a normal tight formation. But this is the alignment for the play motion slot choice. And so what you can do here is you can actually hot route this motion receiver. I can put him on a slot fade. I can do anything I want. And all of a sudden, we have a 4x1 set here, even though we're technically in gun tight Y off. And so that's what's so unique, is that you basically get two formations for one because of these auto motion plays where you can put hot routes on that guy and cancel out the auto motion. And so right here, this is of course just a very easy flood concept. As you guys know, I love me some flood concepts, honestly, because I just think they're one of the best route combos in the game, and a lot of people don't know how to guard them or just choose not to guard them. And so I put flood concepts on the field all the time. But this route combo also can do a great job of beating man coverage as well. We'll go ahead and set that up again, get the offense in a cover 0, and maybe we want to block the running back here. But we have 3 different routes that could beat man coverage. We have the return route, the tight end corner route, and the deep dig route from our solo receiver. If we go ahead and run this, you see it in this case, it was the tight end corner route that just completely cooked. And that's just a little tip for you guys. In general, tight end corner routes where they're not attached to the line will be pretty bad at beating man coverage, but tight end corner routes where they're attached to the line, and so it's like a shorter corner route, like you see right there, those are really good against man coverage. And so keep that in mind, guys. These shallow tight end corner routes where they're attached to the line are amazing against man coverage. If they're not attached to the line, the corner routes are going to be deeper, and those are not as good against man coverage. But if you need a reliable man beater, just find any formation where the tight end is attached to the line, and that hot routed corner route is going to be amazing against man coverage. Now, the third formation that we're going to look at is gun tight flex. And this right here is the play cross. I love this play so much because we have so many unique route combos we can build out of it. But the first thing I love to always read after the snap, if I'm not making any adjustments, is the wheel route from our left side receiver, because on the flat part of that wheel route, just like we saw on the play verticals, you can go ahead and just hit him for easy yards if your opponent isn't guarding the flat, and that's going to force them to put hard flats on the field, and that just opens up everything else for us. Now, like we've seen a million times, if your opponent is in any type of shade down zone coverage, and we can do cover 2 this time, but it's going to work for cover 2, cover 3, and cover 4, all you have to do is take that outside receiver, put him on a streak, and now you have a super easy flood concept on the left sideline. You have this super shallow cross. You could basically call it a drag. And you, of course, have the deeper crosser as well. And if your O-line holds up, in the case of the Falcons, I don't know why B got bumped into oblivion. I'm actually really curious about what happened there. B kind of just didn't really run his route. Let's go learn together real quick. It should have been this guy right here. And okay, so that's why he was so late on his route. I understand now. We'll try one more time. Obviously, we still got the completion, but it really took him a long time to get across the field. It's not usually going to take him that long. So if we go ahead and run this again, you see it. That's really the timing and spacing that we should be seeing on this crosser, and it's just an amazing zone beater. But also, this is a great man beating play as well. If we go ahead and put the defense in a cover 0 blitz, having these 2 drags crossing over the middle of the field is going to be insanely powerful. I think double drags is one of the best man beating concepts in the entire game, no matter what. And if you're not using double drags, I mean, maybe you got other ways to beat man. Beating man isn't really that bad, but I think double drags is just one of the easiest ways. The other thing is that with this running back wheel route, there's often going to be a mismatch and maybe even a misalignment where you could just snap this ball and throw out to the running back wheel route. And right there, okay, they actually tricked me on that play. They did a man switch, which is pretty slick of them. I'll give them credit for that. But if they're not doing a man switch, and so let's try and have them not do the man switch this time. In that case, what you're going to see, let's just go ahead and snap the ball and see what they do. Okay, so that's the result of their man switch. We figured it out. So the game, sometimes they'll do man switches and sometimes they won't. And so I don't know if you guys saw, but basically what's happening is this linebacker here was supposed to be manned up on the running back. And so when the running back goes out on his wheel route, the safety is calling for a man switch on him. The safety is supposed to be on the tight end. And as a result, the linebacker is just left completely cooked because of the man switch late. And so in that case, we'll just hit the drag. And so if they're not man switching, then the running back can be a big mismatch on the outside. If they are man switching, then you'll just take whoever they switched off of because he's going to be wide open. And so that is cross in the play gun tight flex. Now, the other play in gun tight flex I want to show you guys is PA post shot. And this is a natural zone beater. You're just looking at it, you can see it, we have a natural flood concept on the left side of the field. I do like to block the play action, and that just allows us to pass the ball a little bit sooner and see the field a little bit sooner. And so right there, we just pass that ball outside, easy completion along the sidelines. And this play can also be a pretty solid man beater as well. And so if I go ahead and put the defense in cover 1, as we know, I'm going to block the running back here. And you can see that the tight end on the drag is going to be our first man beater. And he actually didn't separate, which usually he will. Let's go ahead and try some man coverage again. We'll do some cover 0 this time, but same exact route combo, of course. And there's just so much bumping, but even after he did the bumping, he had really nice separation on the drag. And then, of course, if we go ahead and put the defense in man coverage one more time, we can see at this time that other shallow crosser from the right side gets wide open, especially if the defenders can bump into each other. And honestly, the other crossers have a chance of beating man coverage as well. I would say it's a little more iffy. I'd say the two best routes for beating man are the two routes on the right side. But even that deeper crosser from the inside receiver on the left side has a chance of beating man as well. And so all this is to say, there are a ton of great things for you to run in the Falcons playbook. Now at number 3, the Indianapolis Colts playbook has all the most popular meta formations from the last several years. We're going to look at 3 different formations here in the Colts playbook, but starting off, we're in the formation gun bunch offset with the play double post. This play is one of the best plays in the game every single year. It destroys man coverage, it destroys zone coverage, and one of my favorite things is that we can build a cover 3 bomb with just a couple of adjustments out of this play. And so what we're going to do with the defense here in cover 3 is we're going to go ahead and put the middle bunch receiver on a streak, and we're going to take our solo receiver, put him on a curl route, and then custom stem that up by just one click on the D-pad, and that's going to hold down the cornerback in the outside third. And we go ahead and run this. If our O-line holds up, you can see that we have the easiest one-play touchdown ever against cover 3. But that post is great, not just against zone coverage, but against man coverage as well. So we go ahead and put the put the defense in a cover 1 this time. We can run the exact same setup. We can put the streak. We can do the curl route because I think that this is all just like a really good route combo regardless of the coverage. And against cover 1, this post route somehow always finds a way to get a step on the defender, and that's an easy touchdown. Now, you don't have to throw the post against man coverage. You can also throw the curl route. I hope you guys are using curl routes against man coverage because they are secretly one of the best man-beating routes in the entire game. You just have to time them right. And so if you haven't been throwing curl routes against man, definitely get into practice mode and get a few reps in. But once you get the timing down of when to throw these, which is like a pass lead down, and Anthony Richardson kind of just put the ball way above his head. Let's do another rep. I mean, we completed it, of course, which is all that really matters. But you ideally want to have that ball more in his chest or even down low if you can. And so once again, the defense is in cover 1. We're going to ignore the post. We're just going to throw this curl route. And so right when he's turning around, just passing that ball down, possession catch it, easy completion once again against man coverage. Now, we have, again, there's so many things we can talk about on this play. If your opponent is in cover 2, and if they're in a backed off cover 2, then your first read actually should be the tight end on this wheel route, because on his flat part of the wheel route, you can just get easy yards on the outside like that. And then if your opponent is in a shaded down cover 2, so let's go cover 2 and then shade them down, well, guess what? That wheel route is going to be open super late on the outside because the hard flat's going to stay underneath. And then once he wheels up, you have absolutely no one over there. And I guess he had to lay out and make it look a little more dramatic than it had to be. But that's easy yards. And then if nothing else, you always have your running back on this really great in route over the middle. Once he fights through the line, you can just get easy yards over the middle. And so the play double post gets someone open literally every single time. And I truly think that this is one of the single best plays in the entire game. Now, the other play we have to look at in gun bunch offset is going to be dig return. And the setup I love to run out of this play is to slant my middle bunch receiver, to take my solo receiver, put him on an in route, and custom stem it up by 2 clicks on the D-pad. And we'll talk about how this beats both zone coverage and man coverage. And so right here, against shaded down cover 3, and really against any coverage, our first read is going to be the slant. And if your opponent is giving up the quick slant, you're just going to take it for easy yards every single time. Now against shaded down cover 2, once again, the first read is going to be the slant, but we're also going to, let's pretend that the user is guarding the slant. The next read is going to be the zig route, and Anthony Richardson is missing throws for us, but you can see that the zig route is open, especially in this case, if you throw it early right on the break, and we'll see if Anthony Richardson can complete a pass this time. And so there we go. So you can kind of see how you have those 2 receivers starting over there. The slant continues across the field. The zig is going to stop. And so if there's a user over there, it's going to put him in conflict. They initially start in the same spot. The slant keeps going. The zig route is going to return to in the other direction. And sometimes you can just throw it early right there. It's almost like a spot route in that case. And you get your easy yards over the middle. Now, dig return is also a great man beater as well. And so if we go ahead and put the defense in cover 1 and just go ahead and get our setup once again, what we're going to see here is that even though the flat route's not supposed to be part of the read really on against man coverage, you're going to see that there's so much bumping a lot of the time that the flat route can actually end up completely unguarded. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't like that the game plays like that. I don't like all the bumping. I think it's ridiculous. But that is just the reality of Madden 26, is that you always need to check those routes because anyone can get open on any play because of bumping. Now, we have other man-beating routes as well, like the slant, the zig, and the deep dig. And so if we go ahead and run through those real quick, you see at the slant, absolutely cooked. Anthony Richardson's trying to overthrow our open guys, but fortunately, it's still a completion. We'll go ahead and run one more rep as well. Like I said, the actual man-beating routes are the slant, the zig, and the deep dig. And in this case, we can see that the zig route did not separate as well as I would have liked, but we did have a little bit of separation, so we still have a nice 5-yard completion. And so that's, of course, going to slightly depend on who you have in that spot. So the better the route runner, the better separation they'll get. But overall, I really like dig return, especially in short yardage situations. Now, the next formation we're looking at in the Colts playbook is going to be gun bunch strong nasty, and this is the play Y trail. This is an incredible man beater because with just one adjustment, which is blocking our running back, we have 4 potential man beating routes. And so the defense here is in a cover 0 blitz. When we snap this ball, the first thing we're gonna look at is our outside receiver on the drag. And as you guys know, you've heard me say a million times, drags are just one of the best man beating routes in the entire game. I love me some drags. I love me some double drags. And it's no different on this play right here. Now, you always have a chance of your corner route and your tight end trail route to come open. They're going to be a little bit iffy. It's going to kind of depend on the players. Right there, our corner route got wide open, and Anthony Richardson smoked the throw, as he typically does. Sorry, Anthony Richardson. But if we go ahead and run this a couple times, we should see that our corner route is doing pretty well on the outside. In general, the corner route does well for me in games. I have seen cases where it can get bagged, but overall, it usually does pretty well for me. Now, the tight end trail route is very iffy. This one's going to be very hit or miss, and you can see that right here. He did get open, but it was very late, and that's just kind of dependent on what kind of man coverage your opponent is in. So it's this safety right here who is manned up on him, and we didn't really pick up the blitz that time for some reason. So you can see that this safety's manned up on him, and he kind of like overshot it, and so the tight end did get open late. You see that he was actually going to get some separation right there, but we just didn't have time to make that throw. And so for this particular case, I mean, the drag is wide open, and the corner route is throwable. Not super open, but throwable. And so I feel like I don't throw the tight end trail route as much as the other routes, but you still have to think about it, and it is a solid man-beating route. Now, the final read is going to be this post route on the left side, and this year, this post does really well against man coverage. You can see right here, he's going to get some really nice separation on the inside, and you all ideally will catch it in stride and have a touchdown, but we'll even take that as a completion. We'll see if Richardson can put the ball in the right spot for us, and this time, we have a little bit, no, it wasn't actually as open as I've seen before. We'll run one more rep for you guys. Again, with man coverage, like I said, it's all just kind of like an odds game. Nothing is guaranteed, but right there you can see that's what I have seen most commonly in my testing, is that you get enough separation that as long as the pass lead is hitting him in stride, you have a touchdown. And so that is the play wide trail, one of my favorite man beaters in the entire game because it's just one adjustment, then we have 4 man beating routes out on the field. Now, my other favorite setup out of Gun Bunch Strong Nasty can really be run out of any play in the formation. Right here, I'm in mesh flat spot because it's going to save us one hot route. but you really can do this in any play in the formation. What we're going to do is take our solo receiver, put him on a streak. We're going to take our middle bunch receiver and put him on a crosser. We're going to take our outside bunch receiver and put him on a flat route. We're going to take our running back and put him on a streak. This is a very popular meta route combo, and it's extremely tough to guard. And if we go through the reads real quick, the first read technically would be the flat route on the outside. We're not going to worry about that for right now. That's boring. You need to read it and throw it to if it's open, but that's boring. We're not going to do that. So the first read is going to be the tight end on the drag. Against zone, he can get easy yards underneath. Against man coverage, you know that drags can get some really nice yards as well, especially if the man defender gets bumped or anything like that. And so the second read is going to be, first read is flat route. Second read is tight end drag, which can be great against both man and zone coverage. The third read will be the crosser. And so if your opponent shades down because they want to take away these flat routes and these drag routes and stuff, you got your crosser, which will be wide open against zone coverage on the outside. Easy yards. The crosser, of course, has a chance to beat man coverage as well. But what really ties this whole play together is the running back on the streak. Because what can often happen, especially if your opponent is in zone coverage, they can get distracted by the crosser because you hit him once with it, you hit him twice with it. You're like, you know what? I got to start guarding that. And so if we were to like man this guy up and pretend this is the user guarding that crosser, what ends up happening is this running back streak ends up vacating that spot where that user was supposed to guard, and you have easy yards up the seam. And I really could have probably pass led that a little bit better. I should have pass led it down. I kind of pass led it up right there. So we'll even do that one more time. But if you go against someone who isn't familiar with this route combo, they will give up that streak a lot to the running back. Now, if someone is good in going against this and they've seen it before, maybe they'll try and bait you by starting to run with the crosser, and then they'll come back and intercept it when you throw a streak. I've done that to other people before. But for the most part, this is a really, really great route combo. And if your opponent is not expecting that running back coming up the seam that is going to be in the spot where the user is supposed to be guarding, then that can get you some really awesome yards. And that's why I absolutely love this setup right here in Gun Bunch Strong Nasty. Now, the final formation we're looking at in the Colts playbook is going to be Gun Trips Tight End Flex. And this play right here is Motion Y Post. This was one of the best plays in the game last year, and it's just as good this year. And for this setup, we're just going to take our inside trips receiver and put him on a drag. Now, against both zone coverage and man coverage, we're going to have guys open all over the place. We're starting off with the defense in just a stock cover 3. Right here, not only was our drag wide open underneath, but we also have our return route open as well. Now, let's say your opponent shades their coverage down, because we do have a lot of short routes. We have a flat route, we have a drag, we have a return route. What's going to happen in this case is that this linebacker right here is going to get put in conflict because he cannot guard both the return route from the middle trips receiver and the tight end post. And so let's get our drag route on the field once again. But this linebacker really is the key to all of this. And so if we go ahead and snap this ball, and we're going to see that the tight end post is going to get wide open after that linebacker has to stay down to guard the return route. And so this route combo, while super simple, it's an absolute headache for the defense to deal with because of the combination of the return route and the post route. Now, against man coverage, we also have great man beaters as well. As we know, drags are incredible man beaters. And so as your drag crosses the field, just hit that with a pass lead outside. And the pass lead makes a big difference right there, guys, because if you don't pass lead that properly, that's going for no yards. But because we pass that outside, all of a sudden, it's a touchdown. Now let's go back to cover 1 once again. The return route was a better man beater last year. This year, it's going to be much more dependent on the route running ratings of that player. And so if anything, I guess you could say this plays a little worse than last year because that return route isn't as good against man coverage. We can run it. He is going to probably get bagged. And right there, he still kind of got a little bit of separation. If you need a couple yards, you can throw it. Obviously, it's not as good as maybe it used to be, but it's still throwable for a completion. However, the tight end post route is still an incredible man beater. So if we go ahead and snap this one more time, you're going to see that against man coverage, he is absolutely cooking that defensive back. That's a tight end versus a defensive back, and that is consistently open. We can do a cover 0 blitz as well, and you're going to see it's going to be the exact same thing. Snap this ball, you're going to see that he's going to get really great separation, get that ball out. In this case, we're taking it all the way for a touchdown. And so motion wide post with just a single adjustment of just dragging that inside trips receiver is one of the best plays in the entire game. Now, the final play I want to show you guys in the gun trips tight end flex formation is going to be Dagger. And what makes gun trips tight end flex so unique is that because the tight end is not attached to the O-line, because he's further out wide, we can use tight end streaks to pull back outside thirds and outside quarters. You can't do that in normal gun trips tight end, at least not nearly as easily, because in that case, they're too far inside. But in this case, our tight end is out wide enough that we can actually do that, and we can build these streak and crosser route combos. And so I love this setup right here. It's a great zone beater. We have some good man beating routes on here as well, but I use it especially as a zone beater. Now, the offensive line is kind of getting manhandled right there, and so we'll try to run this once again, and we'll see if they can hold up. Who was it? Was it this defensive tackle right here? We'll just like double team him and hope that our O-line can hold up. And so let's see what happens. And this time I think we have a little more time to throw. In this case, we got the crosser over the middle, and we have the drag underneath. I don't need to throw drags underneath once again. But the other thing I will point out is that we also have this really nice deep dig route. And I love these routes, and especially if these hooks get pulled inside. And so like one of these would be the user and run with the crosser. Then you can often have the deep dig open late over the middle. And right here, there's actually going to be a window early to hit that deep dig as well. So you just have to kind of look at the linebackers and see where they play. But these deep digs are really nice when they're stock. You can, of course, hot route them and use custom stems, but it just saves a lot of time when they're already on the field. And so I love this play, Dagger, as well. I love the gun trips tight end flex formation, and I really love the entire Colts offensive playbook. Now at number 2, the Jacksonville Jaguars playbook is stocked with some of the most powerful plays in the entire game. So we're gonna look at 3 different formations here in the Jaguars playbook, and starting off, we are in the formation gun trips tight end. Now, if you run gun trips tight end, you always wanna run this with your formation flipped so that your trips receivers are lined up on the wide side of the field. And right here, I'm in the play RPO alert bubble. This is a zone coverage destroyer. Any RPO bubble screen is a zone coverage destroyer. And if your opponent is not accounting for the bubble screen, you can just snap this ball, throw it outside. These blocks hold really well and get easy yards on the edge and down the sidelines. I have had these plays go for 1-play touchdowns if our opponent is not guarding it properly. And so you always want to have an RPO alert bubble in your scheme if you're in any trips formation. They are just so good. And it's just so annoying for your opponent to have to always account for these bubble screens and think about them. Now, the second play I want to look at in gun trips tight end is going to be the play verticals. This is another zone coverage annihilator. And the only adjustment we're going to make is take our running back and put him on an in route. Now, the first read on this play is one that people don't usually think about, but it's actually going to be the middle trips receiver up the seam. Because what can happen is that, especially if your opponent is in something like cover 3, the seam gets left open right off the snap. So if we go ahead and snap this ball, you can see that you can just instantly throw to him and steal a ton of yards on the outside. And now you've got your opponent trying to be like, oh gosh, am I just gonna have to play man coverage now? And we can destroy man coverage super easily. But it is just another nightmare, a complete headache for your opponent to deal with. Now, besides that, one adjustment you can also optionally make on this verticals play is to take your outside trips receiver and put him on a comeback route. So if you're running verticals a lot and you find that you're never throwing to that outside guy, that's where the comeback route can add an extra read to this play. Because if your opponent is in that shaded down cover 3, or let's even say that they go ahead and start running, let's just say this. Let's just say they run some man coverage because they're like, I simply cannot stop this formation with zone coverage. Well, comeback routes are just incredible man beaters, and so all you have to do is wait for your receiver to get through his break, and you have an easy completion on the outside. And so honestly, with verticals, I prefer to always put that guy on a comeback route because I found myself not really throwing to that streak anyway. Now, we of course have our running back on this in route still, and so if your opponent is not playing shaded down cover 3, then you can of course hit the running back underneath after he leaks out of the backfield, just passing that ball up, and that's an easy 9 or 10 yard gain right there. Now, you also have your tight end on this sharp corner route, and so if we were to go back to man coverage once again, this sharp corner route does a really great job against man coverage on the outside. You see right here that he just smokes him to the outside, and that's not even a particularly good route runner. Who is that? Strange on the Jaguars? Is that Brendan Strange? Not even a good tight end, and that sharp corner route is still beating the man coverage to the outside. And so we of course have this crosser as well, And so after you've been hitting everything else, like let's say your opponent is tired of you hitting that middle trips receiver up the seam and he starts like manning up a linebacker on him. Well, guess what? Now it's going to leave the quick throw to the crosser wide open, and that's easy yards up the middle. You won't really hit the crosser late, but you will hit the crosser early if your opponent ends up leaving it open. And so that's why the play verticals in gun trips tight end is so incredibly powerful, especially with the running back in route and the comeback route on the outside trips receiver. Now, the third play that I really like in gun trips tight end is this play China Y post. And so the first thing I'm going to do on this play is build a simple flood concept on the trip side with a streak and a speed out from my outside receiver and my middle receiver. And then on the right side, I'm just going to put my running back on a curl route. And what I love about this is that we can destroy zone coverage all over the field. Of course, flood concepts are great zone beaters. So it's like, do we even need to look at that? And we'll go ahead and look at that real quick. And so just as a refresher, because of our flood concept on the left side, we just have to read the high-low of the speed out and the corner route. In this case, I can just pass lead that ball down, and that streak holds that deep half safety back there long enough that we have an easy completion. That works against cover 3, it works against cover 4, works against any coverage we're going against. But on the right side, I should say, this combination of the running back streak and the tight end post also creates a high-low that we can read. And this linebacker right here in the hook curl, he's going to be put in conflict. And so if they're shading their coverage down, he's going to stay down on the running back curl route, and we can hit the tight end post over top of him. And if it's a cover 3, we have even more space to work with. So same thing right here. If it's shaded down cover 3, again, not only is our flood concept going to be open on the left side, but we now have this high-low on the right side. And same thing right here, just passing that down and possession catch it with the tight end. You have an easy high-low over the middle. Now, the next formation we're looking at in the Jaguars playbook is going to be gun doubles flex, Y off close. And this right here is Y sail. And this is a super easy zone beater. And as you guys can see, we have an easy flood concept on the right side. We don't need to make any adjustments. And if your opponent ends up playing shaded down, cover 3 or cover 4, that's a super easy corner route to the tight end on that side. Now, the other cool thing that we have is we have a high-low on the left side between our hitch route and our deep dig route. Now, you do have to be a little bit careful throwing this, but if that hitch route pulls the linebacker down, and if your O-line can hold up, then you can end up throwing the deep dig over the top of the linebacker. And right there, I had to kind of do some avoidance in the pocket. But what I want to show you guys is that this linebacker right here will get held down by the hitch. You can see how low he's playing. And as a result, there's no one to guard this dig route right here. And we had an easy completion, just had to pass lead it away from the other hook zone defender. And that's an easy completion over the middle. And so a super simple zone beating concept right here, but Y sail is a great play, and especially great if you need a quick snap play for attacking zone coverage. Now, the other play we're looking at in gun doubles flex Y off close is going to be motion angle Y wheel. And I love this play because it is a super easy cover 3 bomb. And so for that, I'm going to scoot back just a little bit, and we can go ahead and build this cover 3 bomb by simply putting our tight end on a streak and blocking our running back. That is all you have to do. Now, you can take your outside receiver and put him on a drag. You can put him on a slant. You can really do whatever you want with him. It doesn't really matter. All that matters is we have the sharp corner route, the streak, and then this kind of really deep crosser. You can call it a crosser, you call it a post, whatever you want, from our right side receiver. Now, because of practice mode block sheds, I'm going to go ahead and spy out some guys. But what you're going to see is as that crosser crosses the field, the outside third is going to stay down, and this is completely wide open for an easy one-play touchdown. And so motion angle Y wheel is a super simple cover 3 bomb, and most people don't expect the bomb to come from the right to the left in this formation. They'd expect it to come from the left to the right. And you actually can do a bomb going from the left to the right as well. And so to do that, there's just a little bonus setup. You would put your tight end on a sharp corner route. You would block your running back. You would put your slot receiver on the left on a streak, and you would put your outside receiver on a post. And then you could do whatever you want with your inside receiver. And this will be a cover 3 bomb as well. Once again, we're going to just spy out this D-line so we have time to watch this route develop. If we go ahead and snap this ball, you're going to see at this time, it is our post on the other side, which is going to be wide open for the one-play touchdown. And so that's, I think, one of the coolest things about this formation and this play is that from the exact same hash, the exact same alignment, the exact same pre-snap look, you can have a cover 3 bomb that goes to either side of the field. Now, the third formation we're looking at in the Jaguars playbook is gun cluster halfback strong, and this is the play mesh post. And I really want to focus on this play in particular because I think there's a lot that you can build around with this play. And so right off the bat, I just love the concept of double drags in a sharp post. I think it's probably my favorite concept in the game right now, because if someone runs man coverage on you, right away, these mesh drags are going to absolutely cook them. Now, we'll snap the ball. This tight end is going to go across the formation, but you're going to see that these mesh drags absolutely obliterate man coverage, and you're going to have either one or both of those drags wide open as they cross the field. And not only that, we also have this sharp post, which does great against man coverage as well. Now, obviously, right here in cover one, there's going to be like a 3-rec and a middle third, and so we'll see how it does against those zones right there. But against man coverage, the post does really well. He gets separation late right there. We have a pass lead out in front of him, and that's an easy completion. So right off the bat, this play is a man coverage destroyer. So let's talk about zone coverage. Now, one thing everyone should know is that these are mesh drags. And what mesh drags do against zone coverage is they actually sit down in the soft spots between the zones. And so they're not going to cross the entire field. They're going to sit down, and then you can just hit them with a pass underneath and get your easy yards after the catch. And so these can be good against, or these honestly can be better against zone coverage situationally if that's what you want them to do. Now, if you don't want them to just sit there, you can go ahead and re-drag them. Just put drags on the field again, and those guys will just run all the way across the field, even if it is zone coverage. And so there could be value in both. It kind of depends on what you prefer. You just need to be mindful about what kinds of drags you have on the field. And if you want them to sit, leave them. If you want them to run across the field, re-drag them. But also against zone coverage, if your opponent shades down in cover 3, then you're going to have this post route in a soft spot over the linebackers. And as long as you pass it down, it's kind of like what we talked about before. As long as you pass this down, you have a really nice soft spot in between the zones. Now, the final unique route on this play is going to be if your opponent runs shaded down cover 2, they're like, I do not want you to hit your drags no matter what. So we're running hard flats, we're running everything. This tight end is going to get in a really nice spot on the outside against cover 2 as well. You can pass that ball down, possession catch it along the sideline, and now you have an easy zone beater. And so just this play right here in gun cluster halfback strong, I think makes this whole formation really good, because I think this is one of my favorite plays I have found in the game so far. This is mesh post in the formation gun cluster halfback strong, and it's just another reason why I absolutely love the Jaguars playbook. And finally, at number 1, the Detroit Lions playbook is the best playbook in Madden 26 to start the year off right. I love this playbook so much that I made it our launch offensive game plan on playbookprofessor.gg, and this playbook is full of money plays and money formations, and I'm going to show you guys some of them right now. And so right here, I'm in the formation gun Y-off trio close, and the play is motion mesh rail. This setup is going to beat man coverage, it's going to beat zone coverage, and it can even beat match coverage as well. I'll show you guys how in just a second. There's only one adjustment we're going to make, and that is to put our middle receiver on a post route. Now, when you press the hike button, your outside receiver is going to come in auto motion and then wheel up the field. And he is actually going to be our first read. We are going to look at him as soon as the ball is snapped, and if there is space to throw to him on the outside, we're going to throw to him with a pass lead outside. And so when we snap this ball, you're going to see it. There's space on the outside. We're just going to possession catch it, and that is an easy completion. That right there was cover 2, but you can even do that against cover 4 quarters and cover 4 match as well. In fact, this is one of the best ways to attack match coverage, is to simply have one of these auto motion wheel routes and just throw it right away, because they are not going to guard it on the outside, and you can steal a ton of yards. And if you have someone fast like Jameson Williams, you may scoot around the defender and take it all the way for a touchdown. So that's why that's the first read on this play. Now, our second and third reads are going to be on our 2 drags crossing over the middle of the field. And so if I snap this ball and it is zone coverage, once the auto motion plays out, we can throw to either drag underneath. That's against cover 3, I believe, right there. And one thing you need to know about these drags is that they're actually mesh drags. And so if we run this again, watch our left side receiver. Watch as he crosses the field. He's actually going to stop on his drag. He's not going to run all the way across the field. He's going to stop right there, and then we can hit him when he stops and move up field after the catch. That is what mesh drags are going to do. They're going to stop in the soft spots between the zones. And so you need to be aware of that, because if you think they're going to cross the field and then they stop short, you might be making a bad read. So if you don't want them to stop, just go ahead and re-drag them. Just put them on hot routed drags. But if you're okay with them stopping in the soft spots, you can leave them on the drags as they are. Now, these drags can cook man coverage as well. And so if our opponent decides to surprise us with something like a cover 0 blitz, we can still look at either of these drags. And as long as we have time to get the ball off against the blitz, then we should have one or both of them coming open across the middle. And if your opponent wants to play that aggressive against a play that has mesh drags, you may be taking it all the way for a touchdown. Now, the fourth and final read is going to be the middle receiver on the post. And so if your opponent is shading their zone coverage down because they don't want to give up yards to these mesh drags, there's going to be a window for you to hit your post with a pass lead down after he kind of starts crossing the field and gets over those linebackers. That was more of a pass lead outside. I threw it a little bit earlier than I would usually like to, but you can see that there is a window to hit him in that spot. And this post also can do decently well against man coverage as well. Now, it is going to depend on the receiver that you have there. And so I have the defense here in cover 1. But more often than not, I have seen him, and that's actually, he kind of got bagged right there, but he kind of separated late as well. And so you got to believe in the post. I believe in that post, and for whatever reason, he seems to always get separation for me. Even though Patrick here is not the best receiver, he seems to just always get separation for me somehow. And so I love this setup in motion mesh rail. It is extremely powerful and one of my favorite plays in the gun Y-off trio close formation. Now, the second play we're going to look at in gun Y-off trio close is going to be the play flood. And I love this because it's such a fast setup to have an easy flood concept on the outside. There's only one adjustment I'm going to make, and that is to put my outside receiver on a slot fade. And then we can just go ahead and snap this ball, and we just read the high-low of the corner route and this tight end zig route underneath. And so right there, with the cornerback and the flat dropping back, or the slot cornerback, I should say, we just go ahead and hit the zig underneath. And if your opponent is in something like a shaded down cover 3, you'll be able to hit the corner route over the top, just pass lead it down and outside, and you can have an easy catch along the sidelines. And like always, with any flood concept we've ever talked about, if this linebacker here, let's say this is the user, if he decides to go and run with that corner route, and so this is how they're going to take away both options. They're going to have the hard flat to guard the flat route, and the user will go with the corner route. Then we have this backside dig route, and so we just have to be a little bit patient, hope that the O-line holds up, and then we have the backside dig route. And so with just one adjustment, you have an easy flood concept with a backside dig. And so if your opponent is in zone coverage and you need a super quick, almost a quick snap flood concept, a quick snap zone beating concept, then the play flood and gun Y-off trio close is exactly what you're looking for. Now, the second formation we're looking at is gun trio Y flex, and this play here is inside zone. And I haven't talked about many run plays in this video, but this run right here inside zone has been extremely reliable for me. And I have the defense here in random defense, so we'll see a few different fronts, and you can see that this is a very quick handoff animation and the blocks hold really well. Now, we do always need to double team any inside stuff players on the D line, so we're going to do that every time. But if we snap this ball, we get a nice quick handoff animation, and we have easy yards up the middle. It's not going to always be that easy, let's be clear, but it is going to be pretty easy. And right here, because of random defense, sometimes they give you like ridiculous defensive formations, and so I want to go against realistic ones. I don't want to go against like prevent defense for you guys. Right here, you can see that once again, these blocks held super well. Unfortunately, that block got shed late, but that's still a 5-yard gain right there with a lot of running room. Double team the inside stuff player once again. And right here, you just have to find your running lane. Easy 6-yard gain. If you're getting 5 or 6 yards a pop, that's going to be, I mean, you're basically unstoppable if you get 5 or 6 yards a pop. And so you guys can see this inside zone is one of the best shotgun run plays in the game, at least that I have found so far. And the are extremely, the handoff is super quick, and that's why I wanted to build around gun trio by flex in our Lions offensive game plan. Now, the next play I want to show you guys in gun trio by flex is halfback motion slot shake. And our adjustments are going to be to put our outside receiver on a streak, put our tight end on a crosser, and put our running back on a flat route. And the first read would always be the running back in the flat if your opponent isn't guarding it. We won't worry about throwing that for this video, but you would always want to look at the running back flat route first. Now, the thing about this play that I love is this second read right here, which is this receiver on the shake route. This route cooks man coverage, and it also can get in great spacing against zone coverage as well. And so if our opponent is in a shaded down cover 3, let's watch that shake route. And you're going to see as he crosses the field, the crosser from the tight end actually pulled the linebacker up in the hook curl, and it left a wide open gap to hit that shake route. Let's go to cover 1. Let's look at man coverage. And same exact route combo. Get those adjustments on the field. Watch how this shake route does against man coverage. I mean, that's kind of embarrassing how much he cooked him. Like, the 3-rec had to come and try and help, but like he couldn't stay with him forever because he's got to play in the middle of the field. I mean, this is almost comical how good he won on this route. Look at this. I don't think I've ever seen someone get beat that bad in my life, and that's no scrub either. That's McKinney on the Packers. He's a pretty good defensive back, and Amon-Ra St. Brown just absolutely obliterated him on the shake route. And so I love the shake route on this play. It's one of my favorite routes in the entire formation. Now, the third read is going to be the middle trips receiver on the return route, and it just kind of depends on where the other hooks decide to play. But you can see that oftentimes you'll have a nice spot in between the zone defenders to hit the return route. And then, of course, against man coverage, there's always a chance of the return route getting open as well. Now, Patrick doesn't have the route running of Amon-Ra St. Brown, and so I wouldn't expect him to necessarily win on the return route, but you can still try to throw to him over the middle. There wasn't a whole lot of space there, but there's always the chance that the return route will get separation against man coverage. Now, the final read is going to be the tight end on the crosser, and especially if your opponent is shading down, trying to take away the shake route and the return route and the flat route and everything, your crosser will be open late as it crosses the field, just passing that ball down outside, and you have a huge completion on the sidelines. And so I absolutely love this play right here, and it's all built around that shake route that just destroys man coverage, and then the return route that has really good spacing as well. And so that is halfback motion slot shake, one of my favorite plays in Gun Trio Y Flex. Now, the final formation we're looking at is not in our Lions offensive game plan, but it is still extremely powerful. The formation is Gun Bunch X Nasty, and this play is motion cross post. The adjustments before the snap are going to be to put our solo receiver on a streak and then block our running back. Now, when we press the hike button, we're going to get this auto motion wheel route from our right side receiver, very similar to Gun Y Off Trio Close. And in a similar sense, after the snap, we want to go ahead and peek the auto motion wheel route. And so if your opponent is in something like a cover 2 and they're not playing hard flats, then just like we saw before, we can actually quickly throw to this wheel route on the outside and steal an easy 10 or 11 yards, as long as that defensive back is backpedaling at the snap and not coming up towards the line of scrimmage. Now, the other thing you can do with this wheel route that is very, very cool is that if your opponent is in a cover 3 or a cover 4 zone, then what's going to happen is this streak from the solo receiver is going to pull back the outside third, and you can actually hit the wheel route along the sideline with a pass lead down and outside. And so this is what it's going to look like right here. Once that outside third turns to run with the streak, you can throw that pass lead down outside. And it's very important you wait for that defensive back to turn his hips and start running with the streak. And so right here, let's look at this defensive back. You can see that he's backpedaling. Once he turns, now this is where you can throw it. And so this is our receiver right here. As long as you pass that ball down and outside, there is no shot of that outside cornerback making a play on that ball. And so that's one of the really powerful things that you can do with this play right here. Now, besides that, our other reads are, of course, going to be the drag over the middle. It's a pretty good drag. Sometimes I like to just re-drag him to have him be a little bit shallower. And you saw right there, he kind of just like, bumped into the tight end. And so I do think that re-dragging him is a little bit better, but it's not necessary. Like I said, I think you do have better spacing if you re-drag him, but it's up to you. They're still going to kind of bump a little bit no matter what. And so ultimately, I wish there wasn't as much bumping in the game as there is, but there's just way too much bumping in the game, in my opinion. But then the final read is, of course, going to be the tight end on this post as he crosses over the middle. And the streak is going to help push back that middle third defender. It's really he's pushing back the outside third, but the post is so shallow that the middle third isn't really going to come down too much on it anyway. And so you have really nice spacing over the middle of the field. And so, especially as a zone beater, between this throw right here and this throw right here, of course, there's the drag underneath if your opponent plays back, but especially the wheel route and then this tight end post over the middle, you have some really, really nice routes for attacking zone coverage in the play Motion Cross Post in Gun Bunch X Nasty. Now, the final play I want to show you guys in Gun Bunch X Nasty is a short yardage setup out of the play Smash Return. So our adjustments are going to be to put our running back on a flat route, put our middle bunch receiver on a slant, and then take our tight end and put him on a wheel route, which is left on the D-pad. Usually I'd want to put him on a flat route, but since we don't have tight end flat routes, the wheel route is the next best thing. Now, if your opponent is in a shaded down cover 3, then what's actually going to happen after the snap is that your slant will just be instantly open over the middle, and you can hit him for easy yards. Now, if that slant is actually guarded by the user, like if the linebacker is the user here, and he just wants to guard the slant and make sure you don't get an easy throw right off the line of scrimmage, then what's going to happen is that the return route will end up being wide open. And so you're kind of putting that linebacker in conflict of he either has to take the slant or he has to take the return route. Now, of course, we have the other flats guarded as well. So if your opponent, for some reason, doesn't want to play hard flats, then you have easy throws to either the running back on the flat route or the tight end on the wheel route. You could throw either one of these and steal at least 3 or 4 yards. And like I said, this is a short yardage setup. And so if they're giving us the flats, we're going to take that every single time. Of course, the final read on this play is going to be the dig route over the middle. And ultimately, this whole play is just about what are the linebackers going to do. And I'm going to put the D tackle in a QB spy because we need a little bit more time to watch this the dig route come through. But you can see that we can just hit a high ball bullet pass to that dig route as he crosses over the middle of the field. And did I need the high ball? Maybe I didn't even need the high ball. But we are just giving so many different routes for our linebackers to worry about, or for their linebackers to worry about. The slant, the return, and then the dig route. And you can see that I probably didn't even need to high ball that, honestly, but I did just in case. And we have an easy completion to the dig route over the middle. And so there are all kinds of different options that you have to throw to. And I guess you can also remember if it's a cover 2, I didn't even mention this, but because you have a tight end wheel route, then super late you could hit the tight end after he wheels up the sideline. But usually you'll be able to throw to either the flat, the slant, the return route, or the dig route anyway. And so I love this play, smash return, as a short yardage play in Gun Bunch X Nasty. And I love the entire Lions playbook. And once again, that is why the Lions playbook is what we used for our launch offensive game plan on playbookprofessor.gg. So those are my top 5 offensive playbooks in Madden 26. If you guys enjoyed this video, please do us a huge favor by hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel so that we know you want to see more videos just like this one. But thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll catch you in the next video.